My name's Andrew Short. I'm from Blairsville, Pennsylvania, and this is 1955 Volkswagen Beetle. What all I've done to the car, I started out with a body shell from a 1955 with a 1970 chassis, the floor pan, suspension, all that is out of a newer Beetle. The car was cut into 5 pieces, and there was donors from 5 other cars that we put the initial body back together with. But then the rest of the chassis is 1970 with independent rear suspension. The transaxle is out of a 1976 Volkswagen Microbus. The engine is pretty much like the crown jewel of the car to say. It's a 1995 2.0 liter AVA out of a Volkswagen Jetta with a 55-58 precision turbo on it. Custom made manifolds, custom made piping, intercoolers off a 951 Porsche. The Porsche intercooler was modified with a 3-inch inlet and a 3-inch outlet. It's got a 5.4 Ford Triton throttle body, has the 5.4 Ford Triton coil-on plug. Engine management is Bowling & Grip Omega Squirt 3. Set it up myself, did a lot of the programming and stuff, the initial programming myself. It's full sequential coil-on plug, sequential injection. I don't have any boost by gear, any launch control, or any 2-step or anything like that. Launched the car, just a cable clutch and the mixed match pieces. My favorite thing about the car is the fact when people see a purple Beetle pull up to a racetrack and they point and start laughing and say, "Look at that little Beetle. Like, what are you gonna do with that thing?" Well, first pass pretty much shows them what I'm gonna do with that thing, So that brings a smile to my face, obviously. Ironically, my very first car was a 1973 Volkswagen Beetle. I was 7 years old. We had a salvage yard, and my dad goes, "Pick out a car." And there's this blue 73 Beetle there. I learned how to drive a stick in that car, just learned how to work on it with that car. So naturally, it's what I turned back to, That car from my past, I wish I still had. I had a 1948 Dodge Coupe, had a butterfly pre-war hood on it. I got a 392 Hemi out of a 54 New Yorker. I put that in it with a 727 torque flight transmission, 68 CUDA rear end, GT 500 wheels, and needed a vehicle for work and traded that old 48 Coupe for a pickup truck. My favorite thing about the car culture and cars in general is the personalization that a person puts into the car. As far as you can get a car and tear it down to nothing and put it back together exactly the way you want it, and it shows your personality along with abilities and what you want to do with the car, and you can make it a race car or cruiser, or it's a reflection of that person. One of the craziest stories I have involving cars is when I was 7 years old learning how to drive in that 73 Beetle. I had a friend of my dad said he'd go for a ride with me. And I couldn't really reach the pedals and steer and see out the windshield at the same time. So he jumps in there. I come tearing around the house, grab the gears wide open, sitting on the front edge of the seat steering. This guy drag races. I mean, he builds cars and stuff like that. He's got pretty good nerves. But he reached down, grabbed the e-brake, car slid. He jumps out the door. He goes, "You crazy little," we're gonna bleep that one, but I mean, even still, I see him at the track and see him places. He reminds me of that, and he sees where it came from, The accomplishments I'm really proud of with this car, in fact, this car is pretty much the best thing I've ever built, in, I guess, my opinion or some other people's. Car, as far as its best times and stuff, it did a 6:39 in the 8th mile, 108 mile an hour, which is pretty good for a 2,140 pound Beetle that is full interior glass, treaded tires, open differential, just all the stuff about the car. And I can load people up. I can drive 2.5 hours away, make a 10-0 pass. My accomplishment I'm heading for now is trying to get that 9-second pass, but I mean, 10-0's close but no cigar,